Good Tuesday morning, and thanks for checking out this update for the Central Plains. Overall, we're waking up to quiet weather out there. Very cold, especially up to the north, and boy, overall, the cold is going to be the big story as we go throughout the next couple of weeks here. Just an extremely cold start to the month of March is going to be expected across the area. We have some chances of some wintry weather as well, although this week the chances are going to be very weak, and for most of us, not going to be amounting to a whole lot here, but we'll discuss the waves of energy that we'll be working through here. Now, currently looking at the visibility this morning, most of us not dealing with any fog. There's been a little bit of fog out in western Kansas this morning, southwest Nebraska, but these have improved. The visibilities have improved here in the past 30 minutes or so. So overall, that fog should continue to lift as we go through the course of the day here. Looking at the satellite, quite a few clouds in place for the area today. We have some low clouds. If you look closely across southeast Kansas, starting to extend and spread in from south to north. So I do think clouds will be on the increase for the most part as we go through the course of the day. Just a little bit of low-level moisture increasing out there, which will eventually lead to the chances of some drizzle. We're concerned as we go into tonight for some freezing drizzle to develop in portions of the area here from southeast Kansas, and that could extend up through northwest Missouri as well as possibly southeast Iowa as well. So I want to show you guys the latest data as we go through the day. We'll gradually increase the chance of some very light drizzle out across southeast Kansas this afternoon. And as we go into mid-afternoon into the evening, perhaps some very patchy freezing drizzle out across portions of southeast Iowa. And that will increase as we go through the course of the evening and overnight here around Mount Pleasant to perhaps around Davenport, seeing some very light freezing drizzle potential tonight. We'll see some light rain across Missouri. And again, it'll be all dependent upon your temperatures. I think as we go after midnight into Wednesday morning, we'll have to watch across southern Kansas for an increase in some very light freezing rain. I think Wichita could be dealing with some pretty slick conditions out there as we're going into Wednesday morning with some freezing rain. Again, especially focused in the southern portions, the southern half of Kansas tomorrow morning. We'll start to work in some drier air from the north tomorrow, so we'll end that drizzle risk pretty quickly early tomorrow morning across southeast Iowa. As we go through the day Wednesday, as high pressure will start to work back in from the north, a bit of a breezy day tomorrow with that northwest wind, but we'll continue to see along this front a chance for some freezing rain out across southeast Kansas through the day on Wednesday. Wichita, you're going to be right in this for most of the day with some light freezing rain, so keep that in mind if you're going to be traveling down that way. And then as we go across Missouri, during the day, not much for you, but as we go into Wednesday night, I think that will start to shift east as we work in some colder air punching in. I think we can see some freezing rain issues Wednesday night out across central and even across southern Missouri, as I'll show you here in just a second. So looking at freezing rain potential as we go just through the next 24 hours, as we go into tomorrow morning, some very light freezing rain possible out across southeast Kansas, and I think we can extend this even into southeast Iowa because the data is trying to show that you're going to get snow in southeast Iowa, but that's really not going to be the case because we're not developing snowflakes aloft in the atmosphere. Even though we're below freezing in the whole atmosphere there, we're actually not going to be developing snowflakes, so it'll actually be a super cold water droplet that falls. So areas like Mount Pleasant and over towards, say, the Davenport area there, probably not so much in terms of any snow, but maybe some very minor patchy freezing drizzle as we go into the evening and overnight tonight. So as we look at the forecast snowfall, this will be very limited because of that risk I mentioned. With the lack of any snowflakes being generated aloft, I think most of the snow is to our north, but we could see perhaps some light snow, I think, across northeast Iowa. I'd say a ½ inch to an inch is possible at around Decorah and that far northeast section of Iowa. Now, as we go through today on our Wednesday, as I mentioned, a bit of a breezy day. For most of us, we will be trending dry and even a little bit of sunshine working in from the north. Now, the southern parts of the area hold on to some low-level moisture and the chances for some freezing rain. Southeast Kansas, that risk will continue into tomorrow evening. And then tomorrow night, a greater focus, I think, will be in southern Missouri, especially south of I-70, closer to that I-44 corridor. Could be dealing with a light wintry mix here overnight Wednesday and early Thursday, so definitely something to keep in mind. We'll also see a wave bringing some very light snow out across northern Nebraska late Wednesday night after midnight going into Thursday morning. That wave will kind of weaken as it pushes through, but it could bring a very light amount of snow up to 1 inch in that far northern part of the area once again. So I want to show you the freezing rain all the way out through Thursday morning. Again, you can see as we go into Wednesday night, we'll add some freezing rain down across the southern portions of Missouri, so that could cause some issues Wednesday night. And as far as snowfall with this wave, it will be very limited as we go into Thursday morning. Could see perhaps a ½ inch to an inch of snow in the far northern part of the area. Maybe a little bit more, mainly just north of us here in portions of South Dakota. Now let's take a look at temperature trends, and the temperatures, unfortunately, they're just icy cold, and it's really not going to get much better here. There'll be a slight warming trend as we go into Thursday and Friday before our next shot of really cold air comes in this weekend. But temperatures today, boy, this is just awful for this time of the year. Highs barely getting above the single digits today in the northern part of the area. Meanwhile, you've got 50s and 60s out across central and southeast Missouri. So hang on and enjoy that there, because that also will not be lasting very long. That cold air is going to start to make more of its presence known further south as we go into Wednesday. Look at your highs tomorrow. Going to be a lot colder down to the south compared to today. And the temperatures Thursday into Friday, a little bit better perhaps, especially Friday, but then just wait for it. This weekend, the Arctic air is really going to come back here, especially by Sunday. These are highs on Saturday. Again, single digits to the north for highs on Saturday. And look at the highs by Sunday. We could struggle to get above 0 for highs in the northern part of the area. And all of us here, mainly in the teens and single digits. So again, just extremely cold to start out the month of March. Now, looking at any additional precipitation chances as we move forward here, I want to show you guys the forecast going into late week. Thursday, once again, should be a mainly dry day for most of the area. Now, as we go from Thursday night into Friday, there will be a wave working in from the west, and we will see the potential for some light snow up to the north. Again, this wave is not very organized. You see the potential for a light mix here of some light rain and snow pushing across the area. A better chance of snow skirting across the far northern portions of the area here as we go throughout the day on our Friday. So Friday, a light wintry mix expected. And there could be some snow accumulations, especially as you head up towards the Minnesota border and that South Dakota border there, based on the latest track. That will push its way to the east Friday night. And then we could be dealing with perhaps another wave as we go into the weekend, especially as we go towards Sunday. Data showing areas across Kansas possibly seeing a pretty good hit of some snowfall as we go into the day Sunday. The exact track of this wave will probably be dependent upon how far south the Arctic high pressure will get, but I do think, especially the further south you are and the further west you are, keep an eye on the forecast as we go into the latter portion of the weekend for a wave of snowfall to push through. So Kansas, if you're wanting some more snow, you will have a chance. I think there could be even some decent snow out there possibly for the end of the weekend. Now, as far as snowfall, just from Thursday night through Friday night, there could be, again, several inches of snow in southern Minnesota, and some of that could make its way into far northern Iowa. But for a lot of us, we're just not going to see a whole lot in terms of snowfall out of that wave Friday. And as we go into the weekend, that wave Sunday, again, right now, focusing the southern portions of the area, could be a pretty good hit. Highest confidence out across portions of Kansas. But one thing for sure, looking at total precipitation, nothing overly heavy. Could be as much as 1/4 to 3/10 of an inch down to the south. And temperatures running nearly 30 degrees below normal as we go from the weekend into next week. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.